Next up is the Lumio S, which provides the largest lens found on a pocket dermatoscope. Let's just hold it up next to another unit. Doing so allows us to appreciate just how large the lens is on the Lumio S. It has a very large 40mm lens. Not only does this allow you to visualize all but the largest of lesions all at once within the same field of view, but the other advantage is the working distance that it provides as a result of its lens size. You may recall how I mentioned that with the DL100's relatively small lens, it requires you to place the dermatoscope very close to the lesion, and in turn, you also need to place your face very close to the dermatoscope in order to visualize the lesion within the lens. Not only can this be a little awkward depending on where the lesion is that you're evaluating, but if you've ever tried to mark up surgical borders with a dermatoscope, you understand how difficult it can be when you don't have much room to work with. Well, that's definitely one of the main advantages of the Lumio S. That is, that it's able to focus at a distance which still allows a marking pen to easily sneak in between the patient and the dermatoscope so that you can accurately mark up the margins that you're working with. Plus, it's bright, very bright, with a total of 32 polarized LEDs to illuminate the lesion, or alternatively, 8 non-polarized LEDs which can be turned on with the press of a button in order to visualize surface features. Another cool feature is that the lens is protected on either side with Corning Gorilla Glass, similar to what's placed on many smartphones. This protective glass, along with its simple, solid design, feels good in the hand and doesn't cause concern for being fragile or easily prone to breaking in case it were to be dropped. And so far as recharging, doing so is easy with its micro USB connection. And finally, its size adds to its stability. This can be particularly helpful when you're trying to hold it in one hand, but your other hand is staying busy, such as when you're trying to mark up surgical margins. Some of the more compact units, like the DL4, one could argue that its thinner handle, although comfortable, doesn't feel quite as stable when performing tasks such as delineating lesion margins. But it's the size of the Lumio S, which for some tops the list of negatives. That is, people seem to either love it or hate it. In other words, for some, it's a little too large, at least when it comes to carrying around from room to room. And personally, I would have to agree. Here we'll hold up the DL4 for comparison, and right away, you can see the difference. Also, the lens, for as large and illuminated as it is only 4x, and many of you are already used to 10x magnification as found in many of the other units. But again, as we touched upon when discussing the GL, the question is, do we really need 10x for most situations? I would argue no, and that for most patients, even as low as 4x is plenty, at least for the majority of lesions. But for those of you who are used to 10x, it may leave you wanting more. So who is the Lumio S right for? I'd have to say it has two niches. First would be those who have tried other dermatoscopes and just find themselves wishing that the lens were larger. At 40mm, the Lumio S simply has the largest lens that you'll expect to find on a modern pocket dermatoscope. And the second niche, I believe, is for those who use a dermatoscope in the surgical dermatology setting. As we've mentioned, its working distance allows for easy use when marking out lesion margins. And the 4x magnification is plenty for doing not only that, but also for routine screening purposes. But without a belt clip and given its size and weight, again, I'm just not sure that most clinicians would want to carry it around on them from room to room throughout the day. And for those needing a dermatoscope for routine skin exams, especially if you're in a high-volume clinic, those every now and then lesions which require greater scrutiny, you may find yourself wanting more than just 4x magnification when it comes to those.